People paying money to see me in a 20-by-20 ring.
Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of the 20x20 Ring Crew. Episode 54 coming at you with your host, Matt, alongside my brother, Joe.
What's up?
And we are here to talk professional wrestling. As always, we have wrestling on in the background, and we got quite an infamous episode of WCW Nitro. It is the January 4th, 1999 episode of Nitro, which is better known for the match that is called the Finger Poke of Doom.
I almost forgot about Nitro parties as we're watching one right now.
Did you ever sign up for one?
No. I you know what? A lot of my Nitro viewing days, I would spend time with at my godparents' house, and usually my godfather was there with me. Either that or he was at work. So I was busy running in between TV sets, watching Raw and Nitro on different sets. So that was just me. It was like me, my god brother. That was about it.
Yeah.
You know, every once in a while I'd get together with some friends and we watch Monday Night Raw or something. But no.
It's interesting how times have changed because, you know, you look at these Nitro parties, there's a lot of frat boys and things of that nature. Guys who nowadays would be like, for professional wrestling, like that's dumb shit. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Speaking of dumb shit.
Glacier came on the screen.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story there. His gimmick was so dumb that they wrote him in a storyline about how dumb his gimmick was, and that he sold it all. I think it was like Kaz Hayashi bought all of his shit because it was like, oh yeah, that was a dumb gimmick. Yeah. That's how bad it was. It's also Nitro or WCW too, and you know how late WCW was. Late WCW, how bad it was, I should say. I don't really want to talk about this, speaking of dumb, but it needs to be mentioned. We talked about in episode 53, Roman Reigns is back. He's back. I'm not going to sit here and talk about his WrestleMania match or what have you. I've already done that. I know you've already heard that in episode 53. Thank you for listening and supporting the show. But Roman Reigns and the WWE more so are under a little bit of scrutiny right now because of how quick the turnaround happened.
Yeah, and again, I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I'm not saying one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, through my personal experiences, people that I've known that have had cancer before of any kind, I have not known anyone to recover so quickly. So
yeah, I mean, it's been 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months.
4 months since it's happened. What we're getting at, I didn't really actually come out and say it. It is being thrown out there of the possibility that Roman Reigns' cancer is, and I really can't believe, I do, but I can't believe it still, I'm saying is, that his cancer, his leukemia, the second time around, I should say, is a work. That it was a ploy to get people to like Roman Reigns because, God damn it, we had to make sure that Roman Reigns was a babyface. Establish that. Because the fans weren't buying it. They were booing the babyface. Well, how do we get somebody to get cheers? Sympathy usually works.
Yeah.
Again, I am not saying, you're not saying it, I'm not saying it because I don't want to believe that that's true. I think that is a ridiculous thing to do, but this is the WWE. And I'm going to tell a quick story here.
Sure.
And it's a true story because you can catch this on the McMahon documentary that the WWE released. Vince's daughter, Stephanie, announces to her father that she is pregnant with her first daughter. I believe she now has 3. Obviously, her and Triple H are married, off screen at least. I don't know. I believe this was post them getting divorced on screen, in the early 2000s. But yeah, they're married. Her and Triple H are married. She announces to her father, "Hey, you're gonna be a grandfather, or at least a grandfather again, because I know Shane has kids as well." Should be great news, right?
Should be, yeah.
Well, it was. But here's not for the reason that you might think it is. According to Stephanie and Triple H, Vince immediately pitched the idea of using the pregnancy on camera, but with the idea that the child was not Triple H's. It would be whose? Vince McMahon's. True story, ladies and gentlemen. That is on the McMahon documentary that was produced by WWE Home Video. That is a true story. He wanted to be the father of his daughter's child on screen.
Wow.
So do I believe that this is possible? You better fucking believe it. I do. Nothing is off limits to Vince McMahon. If he wants to get somebody over,
he's gonna do it.
He's gonna find a way.
And see, that's what's so disturbing about this rumor, is because there could be some actual truth to it. But here's my question to you now.
Yes.
So let's say this is all a work, and Roman is getting the sympathy in order to turn babyface, and it works. What happens when down the line he's facing someone that the crowd just happens to like more, and they turn on him again?
Yeah. You can't pull that card again.
Yeah, what happened? Does he get cancer again?
Yeah. You know what?
Because I think that's still a pretty plausible idea
here.
Well,
because, yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be like, oh, you like Roman? Well, here's Roman in every fucking, situation we can throw him in. The reason why they hate Roman Reigns is because you shoved it down their throats. You shoved it down their throats and it hit the little fucking bally thing, whatever that thing's called again, and it fucking gagged it out. They don't want Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
They were tired of that. It's like, again, I talked about it in episode 53. Too much of anything is a bad thing. I love, I love steak. I want to use a different analogy here, different thing. But don't eat steak every single day because it's not good for you. It's not good for you to eat that much red meat all the time. And it's also not going to taste good. The second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh time around. You need some variety. You need your potatoes. You need your vegetables. You need all that shit. And it doesn't matter if Roman Reigns is over now because, he's got the sympathy card and, look, I beat cancer and what a great storyline it is. And again, if this is not at work, I'm really happy that he beat cancer again.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it really makes you wonder. And here's my question to you. Let's say this is a work and Roman Reigns is back wrestling and everybody loves Roman Reigns. And what you said doesn't happen. Everybody continues to love Roman Reigns. But then something happens to Roman Reigns, like he actually gets cancer. Then what?
That would be karma. Plain and simple to me, anyway. I really do believe that Vince McMahon he has no barrier between what is right and what is wrong.
Whatever's going to sell t-shirt.
Yeah, whatever's going to sell a t-shirt or tickets or what have you. But with that being said, I really do think he would stoop to this level. I really do, and I just because of the way the product is normally, I think even if Vince McMahon thinks he has thought this out very well, you can't think this out very well. You're looking for bad shit to happen to people, and that's just my take. I know not everybody believes in karma, and I'm not trying to push that on people, but It's one of like you shouldn't fuck with a hornet's nest.
Yeah.
You know, because you know what's coming. So why would you do this with cancer? That's my point.
Yeah, my thing is to wrap up this subject, because it's one of those things where you don't want to believe it, so you don't want to talk about it that much. Everything you said is true, and if this is true, obviously shame on WWE, shame on everybody involved, shame on Roman. How do you explain to your daughter, hey, I'm going to go out there and announce I have cancer, but Daddy's not sick. But don't tell anybody.
Yeah, you want to talk about fuck with a kid's psyche, man.
Yeah,
like
knowing that her dad did have cancer.
Yeah.
In reality, I don't know if she was around. I don't know how old his daughter is, but that's some fucked up shit. So I hope that this is all just internet going, kind of trying to put two and two together. Be like, wait a minute, because you know what, I've dealt with cancer personally on family and loved ones. I know you have too.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had it, thank God.
Not everybody.
And I don't know how the treatment works, and maybe it can go this fast. Maybe they caught it super early, and it wasn't something. It was something that they could kind of pinpoint and take care of without anything else. Because the other thing too, there was even rumors out there that it was thrown at Roman thrown around that Roman had faked it on his own so he can go make the fucking Fast and the Furious movie. Again, I highly doubt that one, only because WWE can promote that and WWE can make some money off of that, and not only that, but it's also The Rock. So
for me, what comes into question with his treatment is the way he talked about it on Monday Night Raw when he came back.
Yeah,
he was
that was brought up a lot.
Yeah, he was very adamant about saying how he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to come back, and that it was kind of like a very late decision. Like there was just so much uncertainty with him making any kind of a return. So to sit there and talk about it that way just gives you the mindset that this was something completely super serious. But if that's the case and it was that bad, again, I am also not that familiar with treatment, but how do you come back and now you're going to wrestle full time for only 4 months later? How is that a thing? I don't understand that. I don't understand it. I have one more quick point to make about this, because I also think this needs to be said. If this is a work and it works for them, unfortunately, do you know what that means? It means that they are now open to doing this with other people who can't get over properly, like the company wants.
Right.
I.e. Nia Jax.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, again,
I
know as evil.
Where do you draw the line at?
Yeah, and I know as it sounds evil and I shouldn't be talking about it, but if you're not drawing the line there, what's to stop them from doing that with her? Because clearly they're having issues with getting her over.
I mean, they tried with her. They tried with her about her weight. She was being bullied because she's heavyset, and that didn't work. What's next? Does she have to be sick? Does she have to be become bulimic?
Yeah,
Let's do that angle. I mean, let's fuck it. Let's do a whole Scott Hall thing where let's put her. I mean, I don't know what her personal life is when it comes her way. From my understanding, she embraces it, which is great. But let's do shit like that. Let's really make it to where it's uncomfortable for everybody.
Yeah,
that's great television, right? I don't know. All I know is that Roman Reigns is slated for a potential match at Fastlane.
Already.
So,
good God. I think Fastlane is too soon of a debut for Roman to come back, but it's not my call. And it's funny, you and I are sitting here watching the January 4th, 1999 edition of Nitro on the WWE Network, and it's like history fucking repeats itself. They're talking about Randy Anderson, the referee, getting fired
Yeah.
Bischoff fired him, and one of the big reasons Ric Flair felt bad about it was because Randy Anderson supposedly had cancer. And for those of you who are not familiar, it was partially a work, but it was also partially true. He did have testicular cancer, and he did have to go through that battle in life, and they used it in a storyline. So it's the wrestling industry as a whole. Like, it isn't, personal battles, whether they be serious or not, they just never seem to be off limits for whatever reason. And it either works or it doesn't. And me personally, I would rather not go that route. But like we said before, clearly Vince McMahon is not above that. And he doesn't show any signs of stopping soon.
We see Rey Mysterio in the ring right now. I mean, you look at Rey Mysterio's championship run, world title run. It was clearly they were going to use the sympathy card, and this is a few months after Eddie Guerrero's death,
mm-hmm.
and that's what they're using. Rey Mysterio is going
that's right,
to.
Yeah.
He's got the spirit of his friend Eddie, and also keep in mind Randy Orton, the heel at that time, would tell, or I wouldn't say would tell, like he did multiple times, but in a segment leading up to one of their matches going into WrestleMania was, don't look up there, Eddie's not up there in heaven, like he's down there in hell. I mean, you talk about some dastardly shit there. Or, remember Eminem, Mercury Nitro Molina, where they made fun of Road Warrior Animal, because he didn't have a tag team partner because
that's right,
his tag team partner was dead.
Oh, man.
This is, and this is not something that is as far-fetched as I would like to make it sound. And, again, we talked about it last week. Jerry Lawler, he died on TV. And what do they do next week? They had Paul Heyman and CM Punk go out there and make fun of the fact that he had a heart attack and died.
Well, Flair too. Flair,
yeah. So
what? Twice with Flair? I think it was twice with Flair. So yeah, this is nothing new, folks. But it does suck. It does suck that if this is true, and they're utilizing this as a platform to get Roman over as a babyface. Man, I really do feel bad. I really do feel bad.
That takes the term cheap pops to a whole new level.
Oh, good Lord.
Speaking of cheap.
Speaking of atrocities, shit.
On the February 26th episode of SmackDown, we saw one of the biggest screw jobs that we've seen
since Montreal.
Yeah, since Montreal. And it actually involves a Canadian. Kofi Kingston, who has been on such a hot streak as of late, was set to challenge Daniel Bryan at Fastlane
for the title,
for the WWE Championship. This goes after immediately after the Elimination Chamber match, in which he was the last person to be eliminated. Going back and watching Elimination Chamber, I saw the push, and I saw the fact that Kofi Kingston potentially was going to be pushed as a singles wrestler. And obviously, I've known Kofi as a wrestler for over a decade. Mm-hmm. He's always been a fantastic worker. And here he is now, finally, after 12 years in the company, potentially going to get a main event spot. A legit spot, too. And then it all gets changed in a blink of an eye. And Vince McMahon comes out and he puts the kibosh to that. And instead announces that Kevin Owens, the returning Kevin Owens, is going to be the new challenger for the WWE Championship. Now, I've been going back and forth on this ever since the news broke out. And we just got done talking about works. If ever a time that this was a work for something bigger, please, for love of God, let it be to give Kofi Kingston that hero's battle of getting screwed over one more time.
Yeah, I agree. And the way it went about, did you watch SmackDown?
I've actually watched that segment.
Okay. So, Vince comes out of nowhere, and then he's telling the fans, like, I'm obligated to give you guys the highest caliber matches. I'm obligated to give you guys the biggest box office draw.
Right.
So that's why I'm taking Kofi out and Kevin Owens is in. Kevin Owens is just coming back. Two things about Kevin Owens here. One, he's supposedly in better shape, which I don't know if it was like the t-shirt he was wearing or maybe my eyes just deceived me, but I saw a photo of him previous to this where he looked skinnier than he did.
Yeah.
When he came out on SmackDown. So he still had like that, a little bit of a beer belly, for lack of a better term. He did look like he had lost weight, though. I'll give him that much. But Owens comes in the ring. He signs his name on the dotted line right away, and that's it. You have your WrestleMania match set, and Kofi's out of a fucking match just like that, and he leaves, and he's, it was the other two guys in New Day that were pretty much being verbal for him. Kofi didn't really say much, and then he took to Twitter afterwards and was like very calmly stating that, hey, it's a shame, and I'm hurt, but I got to move on, more or less. Again, if this is a work, please make it worth our while, and if it's not, which I mean, I'm assuming it is, but if it's not, what happened? What was it, like a month ago?
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you fans what you want, and they're doing everything but.
Well, I find the choice of words interesting. I'm obligated to give you the best matches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's wrong with Kofi Kingston? Like, even if it's a work, what a really shitty thing to say about your talent. That, oh, this guy's better. Well, that's debatable.
I don't like to stir shit, but something else came to mind while I was watching this. So this SmackDown was the last SmackDown in the month of February.
Yeah.
What do we celebrate in February?
Black History Month. Yeah.
And they fucking swerve him so fucking hard. Like, really? What the fuck? How is that?
Yeah. You know how much I hate putting race into anything.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I'm not trying to rile shit up.
No,
but it was just an afterthought.
But
like,
let's call it what it is, though.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston is another example to a black wrestler getting the fucking shaft.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at...
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. You look at the line of black wrestlers that have existed under the Vince McMahon era, the very long Vince McMahon era. How many of those guys have gotten over?
Not many.
How many of those guys, or in this case now girls, because let's look at a top black female wrestler in Sasha Banks. Multiple-time women's champion, right? I'm going to ask you, besides NXT,
okay,
besides her NXT championship run, how many times has she successfully defended that title?
I don't know.
Goose egg.
None?
She has never successfully defended the women's championship.
Wow.
On the main roster.
On the main roster.
Where Vince McMahon runs it. Now, NXT, man, she had a hell of a run. Some of the best matches that she's ever put together. She's put on some great matches on the main roster, too. Never has she successfully defended that title.
Well, that was the other thing about the whole Kofi Kingston segment on SmackDown as well. Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon is out there on the mic trying to introduce Kofi to the ring, to get him out, and they're showing like a semi-video package, and Shane says that he's multiple time Intercontinental Champion.
Right.
And so
Which is true.
Which is true, but they only show like the way the video was going. If Shane said something was multiple, they showed it in some sort of a video effort. When it came to the championships, they mentioned multi-time Intercontinental Champion. They show a brief glimpse of him raising the belt one time.
Yeah.
And then again for another title, they did it one time. And it got to be a little awkward for me. Like, wait a minute. Are you guys just like hard pressed for time? Like, clearly you're giving him this big like you're rolling out the red carpet for him to come out.
Right.
Like, why not do it right? And it seemed like he was just getting shafted from the fucking moment they said he was going to come on or come out to the ring.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, what the fuck? I really don't know what to think of this. I do hope it's a work, but even with it being the work,
everything's in poor taste.
Everything's in poor taste, and I don't see him getting a proper shot at this title. I don't see him carrying this title. Not even. I don't see him winning it and then doing the whole Sasha Banks goose egg either. I don't see any of that happening for him.
8-time tag team champion, 3-time United States champion, 4-time Intercontinental champion. The resume speaks for itself. Some of the best, matches of the year generally involve Kofi Kingston in some way, shape, or form, or some of the high spots of the year generally involves Kofi Kingston. Again, I'm not an advocate of what's going on in the world as far as racial discrimination. I stay away from stuff like that mainly because I just do. I tend to. It's my personal preference.
Sure.
I want everybody to get along and everybody and everything like that. But when it comes to something like this, and for pro wrestling, it is too obvious that it happens every single time. And I hope that Kofi is the guy that can break that wall, but what is it going to take? I'm hearing that Kofi could potentially be the WrestleMania opponent for Daniel Bryan, but I don't see that happening either. I don't see it happening, and the only thing that I see potentially occurring is that the New Day goes back to being a heel faction, but that doesn't make sense because your champion is a heel champion, and no matter what WWE says, that's off limits.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? Like, what scenario now? Like, you've taken every scenario that you can put Kofi Kingston in a main event match at WrestleMania, and you just put a giant fucking blockade there, because I'm not going to use the other word, wall, because that's a touchy subject. But a giant blockade, say no, you can't have that. And I like Kevin Owens. I'm glad that he's back, but your timing is off.
Yeah,
your timing is off.
It was just weird timing altogether for that episode of SmackDown.
Yeah,
like I was saying before, you had Matt Hardy show up out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And I get it now because they were in North Carolina.
Right.
That's the Hardys' backyard. So you have the Hardys tagged for like no apparent fucking reason other than they're in North Carolina.
Yeah. Matt Hardy announced his retirement a few months back. And
yeah. So now he's back.
He's not broken anymore.
No, he's not broken. He's one of the Hardy Boys. So that happens. And then to further along the idea of not taking certain wrestlers seriously, I got to watch R-Truth, the current United States champion, muck it up in the middle of the fucking ring with Carmella and essentially have a handicap match with Rey Mysterio and Cien Almas. And it was a joke. It was a fucking joke. That's all it was. That title doesn't mean shit.
2-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion R-Truth, by the way.
Fucking comic relief is what that match was. It's fucking stupid. He's capable of so much fucking more. But it was just an odd SmackDown all around. And you're right. A lot of the pacing and the timing and just it was off. Everything seemed to be off, and I don't quite understand it. I will say this about the New Day. I have also heard they're trying to turn them heel, and I think that dynamic all depends on who they turn, because I'm hearing that Kofi isn't the one getting the singles push. It's supposed to be Big E.
Okay.
So that would leave Xavier Woods and Kofi to still be the New Day as a tag team. And then Big E gets the push. And I'm not saying Big E isn't worthy of a singles push. I'm just saying it changes that dynamic. Because if you have Kofi go heel, or I mean, if you have Kofi go babyface or heel, or it doesn't matter, that dynamic changes.
Right.
Same with Xavier Woods. Now I know you and I probably agree on Xavier Woods. Like, he's mid-carder at best.
Yeah.
You know, he just doesn't have.
He's proven time and time again. That's about all he can do.
So I think out of the three of them, it's either going to be Kofi or Big E. And my money, if you're going to make it somewhat interesting and make a little more sense to me personally, I think it's Big E. I think Big E turns and costs Kofi his championship match, one way or another, and then we deal with that after WrestleMania.
All I know is, if you were not going to run with Kofi Kingston, you should never have teased it. You should never have put it out there that this is what you were going to do. Because the damage is done. The damage has already been done, and even if you go a route of a Kingston versus Big E rivalry, all you've done is take Kofi Kingston, put him in the main event limelight, and then take him out of it and said, "Here, you're going to do this instead."
It's going to be really interesting. I'm a fan of momentum. Not to get too off topic here, but hear me out. I'm a fan of momentum. I understand the principle and the concept that is momentum, and momentum in life, in anything you do, is really important. Because if you don't have momentum and you go into something, no matter what it is a completely different story than if you did have momentum and you go into something. Things tend to carry over if you have momentum. I say all this to you because if they were smart and they have their shit together, the booking staff for the WWE realizes this, that they have a fledgling promotion in AEW coming up very soon with their first show. They should be paying a lot of attention to this. And if you're pulling shit like this now, and we're about 2 months away from their debut, they're pulling shit like this now, you're leaving the doors open for momentum to be built up with your fans hating your product, your fans being subjected to shit like this, where Kofi, someone who obviously the fans want to be successful and have that title shot, him possibly not getting that, to become to fruition. You have all these things gaining negative momentum here. It's working against them. And AEW, they're gonna that is completely where those guys strive.
Yeah.
You will see a Kofi Kingston over there be able to do his thing and be successful. You will see other wrestlers who the fans actually want to see. They'll get over in a promotion like AEW, where they're not getting over in WWE.
Yeah.
At least on the main roster. So it'll be really fucking interesting in the next couple months to see exactly where these storylines end up. Because keep in mind, the first AEW show is about a month, almost 2 months after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
If I got that right. So
yeah,
all this time beforehand and after WrestleMania is going to be very critical, or should be very critical, to the WWE and their future going forward.
It's a fine line when it comes to stuff like this, because it's not tolerated anymore. And again, I know there's going to be people that are going to really hate my mentality on this, but it's as black and white as I'm making it sound, and it's not just black wrestlers. It's how hard how long it took Asuka, who was the hottest thing in your company, and what you did to her, and how you mistreated her, and every other ethnic group.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
You and I just had a discussion about Mexican wrestlers. We were watching the same edition of WCW Nitro from January 4th, 1999, and they were having this video vignette of the LWO led by Eddie Guerrero and how stereotypical all that shit was.
Yeah.
And then you immediately we thought of, well, these guys left and some of them went to the WWF or WWE, and what did they do? They're part of the Mexicools.
They put them on fucking riding lawnmowers.
Yeah, riding lawnmowers.
Riding fucking lawnmowers. Wearing outfits that someone who would actually be cutting grass would wear. I mean, come on. What else do you got to do? You have Lucha House Party with fucking piñatas.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, come on. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's as black and white as I'm making it sound, and that's not tolerated in other industries. You look at something like Ring of Honor. The longest reigning world champion of all time is a black wrestler. It's Jay Lethal. Mm-hmm. Why is he the longest reigning? It has nothing to do with race. It's the fact that he is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
And before that, it was Samoa Joe.
Yeah. So it's like you can't look at it as like, oh no, you're thinking too much into it. Maybe I am in this case, but your track record speaks volumes of this type of bullshit. And it's like, here we go. Here's another example. And then the way that they worded it, the way they mistreated Kofi, even if it was a work, that is some really harsh things to say by Vince McMahon. And even if it's meant to be, the damage is already fucking done.
Yeah.
You've already told your audience, hey, this guy, he ain't a main eventer.
Fuck.
So the only way to fix that is to put him in the fucking main event, and you're not going to do that. Maybe you will.
But he's gonna get gypped.
But he's gonna get gypped either way.
Yep.
It's a lose-lose for Kofi Kingston, and it's a shame because he has put so much for that company. 12 years in the company, and you're still mistreated. So I don't even know what else to say about that. I'm pretty pissed off about that, even if it's a work, because it's a shitty work, and it puts Kevin Owens in a weird situation too, because here he's coming back. And there's a lot of people that are pissed off by this. It's like, that's fucking bullshit.
If you go back and watch, for those of you who don't, obviously you can't access this SmackDown on the WWE Network, but...
Not quite yet.
Not
Give it a
quite
couple
yet.
of weeks.
Yeah. It's actually available on Hulu the next day. If you guys need a Hulu subscription, support your 20 by 20 crew. 20x20crew.com/podcast/Hulu, and we'll get you information on how to get discounted Hulu. But going back, listening to the pop that Kevin Owens got, it was kind of mixed.
Yeah,
like the people were glad to see that he was there. He got a pop, but he also got some boos. So it does definitely leave him in a very precarious position, and especially going forward. I'm excited that he's back, but this is not the way to do it.
Yeah,
absolutely not the way to do it.
It was poorly done. If you were going to fuck over Kofi Kingston, at least let him have the match. have him come back at Fastlane and just do it there.
Yeah, why not? They do it on any other fucking time, right? What would be different?
Why come out there and embarrass Kofi like that and say, hey, we got to give you the best match. So this is what you're going to do. We're going to give you Kevin Owens instead, and tell your audience that Kofi Kingston basically is a mid-carder.
And now if they give him the match, it's going to seem like they're doing it out of fucking pity,
Yeah.
So
or the fear of any kind of backlash.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a good reason for them to do it. So it's a really shitty thing to think about. And to start this show, that's all we've done is talk about shitty things that this company fucking does. But
you know what? Let's take a break. We'll go pay some bills. We'll let you guys mull over what we're talking about, And again, come talk to us. Facebook.com/20x20. Facebook.com/groups/20x20talk. If you want to come voice your opinion about Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens, and the like. And yeah, let's go pay some bills, and we'll be back. Stay tuned.
This episode of the 20x20 crew is sponsored by Amazon Prime. Sign up for a free 30-day trial and you get instant access to thousands of movies and television episodes. You get to borrow Kindle ebooks. You also get unlimited free 2-day shipping with no minimum order size. You don't have to purchase. You can cancel anytime and still show the 20x20 crew some love. You can sign up for Amazon Prime through the 20x20 crew by visiting our website at 20x20crew.com/podcast/Amazon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the support. And now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging in there with us as we pay some bills. Always thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting the show. Can't stress that enough. Again, we have wrestling on in the background. We are currently watching the WCW Monday Nitro from January 4th, 1999, which is most notably known for the finger poke of doom, which happened between Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan. Caused quite a stir. Earlier this week, we had someone post in our Facebook group, again, facebook.com/groups/20x20talk, and they pitted the question to us. We were given 4 wrestlers, and one of them has to go. Their complete legacy, career, everything has to be erased. Who would you pick? And it was a completely interesting question to me, considering who the 4 people are. So I'm going to name them off. And then, by all means, I definitely want to pick your brain about this because I haven't had the chance to. So here we go. Number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Number 2, Triple H. Number 3, Ric Flair. And then, last but not least, The Undertaker. So one of those guys has to go. You're erasing their complete career, their complete legacy in the industry. What say you?
Including what's happening today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I immediately chimed in to the post.
Okay.
And I picked Triple H.
Okay.
And what I said was, and I do want to elaborate more as we go on, but essentially what I said was, I think we would still have this overall change in the industry. And when I say change, I'm really talking about this whole AEW thing, the Elite, those guys. You still have Cody Rhodes being fed up with the company, even though Triple H was sort of involved in that. Just because of the way the company works, I think Cody Rhodes still would have got tired of the shit and would not want to have been Stardust his entire career, you know. So Triple H doesn't really play a factor for me there. I still think you have the curtain call with the Click, even though Triple H wasn't. If Triple H wasn't there, which I have a sub question to that. Like, if Triple H isn't there and the Click still does all that, I wonder who gets the blame. I wonder who Vince takes it out on this time if Triple H isn't there. So we can go back and answer that later. But
okay.
It wasn't easy for me to pick, but immediately that's what came to my mind.
Okay.
Those two things. What say you? Can you pick one guy?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are not going to like this one, but to me, it's actually not that hard. I hear what you're saying with Triple H, and I agree with that. But to me, it's much simpler than that. It's a guy that a lot of people are going to disagree with, and that's Stone Cold. I could scrap him easily, and the industry is going to be exactly the same. And I understand he is dubbed the most popular WWE superstar of all time. I get that. but I'm going to use the same argument that I would use a Hulk Hogan. Stone Cold is a product of Vince McMahon. I get there's a lot of Steve Williams behind that, but if Steve Austin isn't there,
Okay.
I'm not saying there's going to be an Austin versus McMahon with somebody else, but the Attitude Era is still going to exist.
Do you think it would be as successful without Stone Cold Steve Austin? Because, I mean, let's face it, there's been more than... that is at least one accolade that he is always associated with.
Yeah.
You know, the Attitude Era wouldn't be quite what it was if Stone,
See, this was the problem with these questions like these, because it's always so hard to argue your point. Like the attitude, like with Hogan, wrestling would never be the same without Hogan. They'd be in carnivals and all that stuff, and I disagree with that.
Okay.
Just like not to quote Jurassic Park here, but life finds a way.
You're right. You're right. I get that.
And I agree that I agree that Hulk Hogan pushed the envelope for professional wrestling, and much quicker the way that Austin did for the Attitude Era. But you got to go back to the Attitude Era. Look at any documentary of the Attitude Era. It was next guy up. Whatever didn't work, it was somebody else was waiting to take that spot.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? Now that I think about it, they did have that kind of a roster.
Yeah.
You had The Rock.
Yeah.
You had an up and coming Triple H. You had DX. You had like a plethora. That was probably the most stacked roster.
If Austin doesn't work,
somebody else.
who's still going to be there too is Bret Hart.
And Bret Hart.
Because Bret Hart, you can't be not saying that Stone Cold was the reason Bret Hart left by any means. That's not the case. But without having a Stone Cold makes it very easy saying I can't honor this contract anymore. It was a crazy big contract. I don't know what the exact numbers were, but it was a big contract. I can't honor it anymore because there's no need to. I have Stone Cold. I have this up-and-coming Rock. I have Triple H. I have all these guys. I still have Shawn Michaels. Because this is obviously still before Shawn Michaels gets hurt. Just a couple months before. I have The Undertaker. I have Kane. I have Mick Foley. And it's hard for me to say that somebody else couldn't have been made. Again, Steve Williams, the man behind Stone Cold Steve Austin, did a fantastic job in what he did. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to ever take that away from him. I am a huge Stone Cold fan. And I've talked about that since episode 1. But if I had to sit there and talk about legacies, I can't take away Ric Flair.
I would never want to do that. I would, and just because I think out of all four of these guys, his legacies stood the test of time. And you're pulling a lot of wrestling history.
A lot of wrestling history.
If he leaves, I mean, because we're talking territory shit. The NWA, the Crockett promotion, WCW. It's almost like a fucking fathomless abyss of how fucking important Ric Flair is to professional wrestling.
And talk about the guys and girls who are in the industry. For generations, he's inspired up-and-coming wrestlers. I mean, people, first person, why did you bring it to the industry? Ric Flair. I saw this Ric Flair match, and I knew I had to be. Yeah, you got other wrestlers that are mentioned, but Ric Flair is almost always mentioned.
Yeah.
He has stood the test of time. What he says is true. Diamonds are forever, and so is Ric Flair. And therefore, Ric Flair's legacy can't be touched. The Undertaker... He's a guy for me that has stood the test of time as well. If I had to narrow it down, like least to be cut to most, he would Austin is my most. He would be second place.
The Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
Okay.
And I say that because he was a staple for WWE. He was a big attraction for WWE or WWF before the Attitude Era. When it wasn't really good. he was still a guy to watch. He kept them afloat. He stayed loyal to them, and then he helped excel the Attitude Era. There's no doubt about that, as well as many other eras afterwards. You also got to remember, too, going back to Stone Cold, unfortunately for him, he had the neck injury. He didn't impact the wrestling industry for that long. Don't get me wrong, it's not an insignificant period at all. It's the Attitude Era, but you're only talking a few years. And then that's it. Where all these other guys have been around for decades. They have survived for decades of being relevant. And even though the Undertaker has been relevant, out of the four guys, he is the second most likely for me to cut, because of the fact that a lot of it was a guy that was filling a role and not necessarily revolutionizing the business like a Ric Flair was. So therefore that's why Undertaker would be my number two. And believe it or not, I actually have Triple H as just behind Ric Flair. Not like it's neck and neck necessarily, but Triple H, whether we like him or not, I don't know if the WWE evolves the way that it's evolving. Wrestling would evolve because of what you said with the Elite guys and then all the other companies. But the WWE has evolved. Yeah, we talk about it poorly still, but again, that's because Vince McMahon still is clutching onto those reins. If he let go, I guarantee you are going to talk about WWE as a legit competitor to the other companies in the terms of watchability.
I agree with that. I understand where you're coming from, but I'm gonna use the Jurassic Park line. Life finds a way, and I think without Triple H there, I still think eventually we do get that part of pro wrestling where it's actual pro wrestling. I still think that evolves and becomes a bigger part. I just don't think it would necessarily be with NXT or WWE. I think if Triple H isn't around, we definitely don't see the same kind of NXT product that we have now. We don't get to see NXT UK, at least not to what it has become. And I think it still remains a smaller part of the WWE without Triple H. And then I just see all of that change in momentum being absorbed by the Elite and Cody and AEW and Ring of Honor, places like that. So we get, if I guess what I'm saying is, if Triple H wasn't around, completely erased, we still get his impact, whether we like it or not. We just get it through different companies, not the WWE. Because of Vince McMahon.
Because of Vince McMahon, yeah. Yeah, because my question to you, and you pretty much answered it, would be, well, who would be the guy or girl to be like, all right, well, we gotta evolve, and the answer is nobody within WWE. And I guess that's what I look at it as. He's the guy, and I know this is going to sound extreme because I hear all the time WWE's fine financially and all that stuff, and they are for now, but for the future, the long distance future, he's going to be the guy that saves the WWE. He's going to be the guy that ensures that they remain in the black and not go into the red. Because if it wasn't for the fucking WWE network, they'd be in the red.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They'd be in the red all day long. And he's going to be the guy that saves them. And it's going to unfortunately have to wait until Vince McMahon is old and senile or not here anymore for him to finally get everything, all the control that he needs.
I disagree because of AEW and just how much they have their shit together. Because legitimately, and again, I usually don't take any stock in what Dave Meltzer says, but Dave Meltzer has come out and basically said that AEW is the number 2 promotion in the United States, whether people like that statement or not. I
Well,
know the people at Ring of Honor don't like to hear that, but
it would make sense.
it would make sense.
Given the financial backing.
They
Tony
have,
Khan.
yeah, they have the financial backing, and that's a big part of it. But you gotta give credit where credit's due, and they seemingly have their shit together. It isn't just about the money with those guys. Like, they have talent that they're willing to develop and develop properly. They have existing talent that have already made their mark in the industry and can help continue that momentum towards success. They just landed the hottest fucking free agent in pro wrestling since I don't know when, in Kenny Omega. You have all those things going for that fledgling promotion, and you can't just easily discredit that. I'm not going to sit here and say they're the number 2.
Yeah.
But I guess that's where the money comes in.
I want to agree with you. I with Vince McMahon, it's hard because he is as great of a wrestling mind or business mind, I should say, not wrestling mind, as great of a business mind as he has. He's a fucking moron, and he's the reason why those marks act the way they do, because he's not looking at all that Double or Nothing as a big deal.
He's not, and he should.
He should, and I guarantee you, Triple H sees it, because what he's seeing is guys like AJ Styles who are potentially 1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
As well as other guys who are out the door. And if you keep mistreating your ethnic roster, they're going to be fucking out the door too.
Yeah, you'll whitewash the roster.
I mean, Jesus Christ. So that's what I mean by that. It's hard to argue this because, it's like, to me, Stone Cold played, in one particular part of history, played a bigger role than Triple H did. I mean, I'm not talking about comparing Triple H in the Attitude Era versus Stone Cold in the Attitude Era, because that's no contest. But Stone Cold in the Attitude Era played a bigger role than Triple H in any era as far as on screen goes. But Triple H and what he's delivered for the industry, Stone Cold's never done that. And Stone Cold doesn't have the Ric Flair mentality where you have a laundry list of wrestlers that says, yeah, Stone Cold is the reason why I'm in the business. And maybe it's because he's still relatively younger compared to, Ric Flair, but you don't see that. You don't hear that. He wasn't, and again, a lot of it has to do with the injury, and he didn't get a fair chance because of SummerSlam 97. But because of that, and because of, the ongoing knee injuries and all that stuff, he never had those jaw-dropping moments, those awe-inspiring wrestling matches. It was very much a roughneck style, fighting style, because that's all he could do.
Here's a question for you. So let's say we wipe Triple H out of this industry.
All right, Triple H is gone.
Triple H is gone.
Okay.
Do you think, regardless of whether he got hurt or not, do you think Shawn Michaels would be able to step up in that same vein, and over the course of, how many ever years, fulfill the spot that Triple H has kind of carved out for himself?
Behind the scenes
and on camera, do you think he's capable of such a thing?
On camera, yes.
Do you think he takes the fall for the curtain call? Do you think he's able to, bring about something as successful as NXT as we know it?
Well, if memory serves me right, I think he did take a fall for the curtain call. He just knew that he wasn't going to get any heat for it because he's Shawn Michaels. He's champ.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, he clearly didn't get any heat for it. Does he take the heat that Hunter took?
Well, I don't think it's up to him. I hear what you're asking, but I can't really answer that question because it's not really up to him. I don't think Vince is going to give it to him because he's Shawn Michaels. Who else do you have? You just lost Nash and Hall.
Okay.
It was, you could technically punish Michaels, but then you single him out and he worry about him saying fuck it and be like, I'm going to Ted Turner and take that guarantee contract. As far as the man behind the gimmick, I would say he would really end up leaving. That I think he really would leave because what else? What's keeping him there? If Triple H is gone, his boys are WCW, and now he's being blackballed. I'll take guaranteed money and less dates as well.
Okay.
As far as NXT, absolutely not.
No.
Triple H, whether people don't like Triple H or Paul Levesque, the man behind Triple H, I get it. But if you look at so many interviews based on Triple H, there's one thing that's always been the same from way back when he first started to the Attitude Era to now, is that his work ethic is just at another level.
Yeah, it's impeccable
compared to like anybody else in that ring or in a business. His work ethic is just bar none one of the best, and he very much is a person on the business. We see Diamond Dallas Page in the ring right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's wrestling Bryan Adams at the NWO. When Triple H was doing the Blue Blood gimmick, he was trying to figure out like moves, like finishing moves. So he started doing a cutter. And he was really good friends with Dallas Page, and DDP was like, bro, can you not do that because you're going to kill my momentum with it. Triple H could have said, fuck off, man. Like,
yeah, he could.
I'll do whatever the hell I want. He stopped doing the cutter because he didn't want it to hurt DDP. And his momentum, the guy that works at a different company, the guy that works at the company that treated Triple H or terrorizing like shit. And he did that. So he's always been very much about the business for the most part. Because I'm not going to talk about a certain WrestleMania. Because you know what, there are some really bad stories about him shoveling talent as well.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. But as far as NXT goes, that very much is his brainchild, and it shows.
And you hear stories about him shoveling talent.
Yeah, and I'm never going to deny that.
Yeah, no, I'm not denying it either. But what I want to say is, it makes it hard to argue this motherfucker.
It is.
Because of the results that have come to fruition. We do have an NXT, and it is chock full of really awesome wrestling talent.
And then an NXT UK.
Yeah.
And then the idea of doing territories within your own company. If that legit is his idea, I mean, come on.
And I fucking hate that I'm saying this right now. I hate it, but if burying that talent leads to this, I'll take it. I'll fucking take it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I'll fucking take it.
A necessary evil, unlike Vincent right here.
Yeah. 10 Cent Vincent. Oh my god.
Yeah, you know what? It is a really shitty thing for us to say, but it's true. It's true because look at how great it is.
I feel fucking dirty right now. You have no idea.
And the results speak for themselves. It's not just us. You look at any NXT show that comes any part of the world or the country, it sells out. They can sell out the Allstate Arena. Raw can't. SmackDown can't, but NXT can. That speaks volumes of the C show or the under
what's supposed to be the undercard.
The undercard or the minor leagues, if you will.
The minor leagues.
So you're absolutely right. Cody still happens. Kenny Omega still happens. The Bucks, all that stuff still happens. And there's also some other good that could happen. Potentially CM Punk never leaves.
That's another thing that got brought up too. Like, does CM Punk stay? Does he go?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot to say about it, and it's hard. It's hard because you look at all four of those guys. You can say a lot of bad about each and every one of them. Stone Cold again, not so much because he wasn't really around. That was the bad, is that he was hurt. He was hurt, and he didn't get a fair chance in his career. I mean, what he did for that little bit of time, what shows you how great he was, and you can only imagine if that tombstone never landed on his neck in '97, what he could have been. I mean, this is a guy that could have taken that momentum and rode it all the way to the late 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's hard to say. It really is, but it's all shoulda, woulda, coulda. The Undertaker was a big part of WWE. Without him as an attraction, the NWO very well could have been the nail in the coffin, no pun intended, for WWE. They didn't have anything else to go off of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, DX wasn't formed until a year later.
Right.
You know, and Austin was still trying to find his footing. The Rock wasn't anything. He was still Rocky Maivia. And then, you know, you have the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and whoever they're facing.
Right.
That was
it.
That was it. That's all you had. You know, Bret Hart was inconsistent. He was a head case, especially in the late 90s. So it was really difficult it's really difficult to take him away from that and say, oh, well, he was just there. He was the reason why they were showing up. It's like taking Hulk Hogan out. Yeah, there would have been another Hogan, but it's hard to deny. People were showing up because of him. People were signing with the company because of him. And I agree with all that stuff. It has to be something to be said about an attraction like The Undertaker. Ric Flair, again, he is the last guy you could take out of there because he is synonymous with pro wrestling. You know, past, present, and future. So I agree with so much of what you said about Triple H, and it's for me, it's kind of like we agree and we disagree on certain things, but where I stand personally, Stone Cold is the guy that has to go.
Interesting.
And it sucks because out of those four guys, he's the reason why I started watching wrestling. So maybe I don't do this show if that's the case. You know, I don't even know. But there would have been another guy up. Would it have been as effective? I can't answer that question. I don't know. But then again, nobody really knows because if Stone Cold doesn't exist, how'd you ever know? Would you know any better?
Right.
Or would Vince McMahon, who, by the way, was just a commentator at the time, if he did this Mr. McMahon angle with somebody else, could they have pulled it off? I think so.
Yeah. That's one of those concepts. It resonates with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
You get to take up against your boss.
Yeah.
How many people have always wanted to do that?
Exactly.
So that's such a timeless angle, and it does resonate with a lot of people. Yeah, someone would have eventually stepped up in that role, and it still would have been a success. I don't know if it would have been the same success as what was shared between Vince McMahon and Steve Austin, but it would have been a success.
And so much of that has to be credit. I'm never going to take anything away from Steve Austin. There's a reason why it worked so well for him, because he was so good on it. Not only was he the blue-collar guy that represented the working man or working woman or whatever, you know, basically it was the 99% versus the 1% angle. And, you know, that's, like you said, it works with just about anybody. But it works so well with him because he carried it to levels that even Vince admittedly didn't, see it initially coming. You know, he was so good at what he did. And like I said, it sucks that I got to cut him. But, yeah, that's my answer is Stone Cold out of that list.
It's kind of interesting watching this edition of WCW Nitro where we have conflict between Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff.
Right.
It's kind of a shame that Eric Bischoff is such a puny guy, because I think if there were any two people that would have had any kind of a similar effect that Austin and McMahon had, it would have been them two.
Yeah.
So, no matter how you cut it, no matter who you pick, really fucking interesting question here. And thank you again to you guys for posting that in our Facebook group. Once again, facebook.com/groups/20x20talk. Really interesting brain picking with you. I the moment it got posted, I'm like, I have to talk to Matt. Have to talk to Matt. And on that note, we're going to round out the show here. And again, please, thank you guys for supporting the show. Please take the time to support your 20x20 crew. And Follow us on social media, twitter.com/20x20crew if you want to hate tweet us. We're also on Instagram, instagram.com/20x20crew. We are on YouTube, where we do the following contest, which is YouTube exclusive content for you guys to absorb, and that's where Matt and I fantasy book a bunch of stuff. 20x20crew.com/podcast/YouTube for more information on that. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We can use any YouTube subscribers that we can get. Thank you. Also, we obviously we're on Facebook. Facebook.com/20x20crew is our official page, and then Facebook.com/groups/20x20talk is where you guys can sit and chime in with us at any given moment. And of course, our home away from home, right there on the web, is 20x20crew.com, where you'll find all of our previous episodes, bonus material, and what have you. Everything is there. Really quick, it is WrestleMania season, and just like we said last week, start counting the days down and get yourself a network subscription, a WWE network subscription. Count out the days, and if you count it out right and you sign up through us, you'll get it for free. You won't have to pay to watch WrestleMania. How fucking great is that? WrestleMania has become this gigantic event, not just because of the WWE, but because of all the other promotions that follow it from city to city each year. So, do yourself a favor. Count down the days. Make sure you get your free WrestleMania viewing, and you can do that over at 20x20crew.com/podcast/WWE network. That's all one word. And then
I think we should sell them something on wrestling, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you want to watch actually good fucking wrestling and not sports entertainment that sucks,
what are you talking about?
all that weekend, you are going to have a fucking plethora of shows going on.
You might want to take a vacation.
Yeah, if you can. I mean, that'd be great. Shit. But one such event is pretty important to us here at the 20x20 crew. And you're going to be able to catch that on Fight TV. Luckily for you guys, if you sign up as a new user with Fight TV through us, and support your 20x20 ring crew, you're going to get $15 of Fight TV credit. That's at least one pay-per-view on us just for supporting the crew. Do that over at 20x20crew.com/podcast/fight. That's FITE. And we are talking about The Collective. Game Changer Wrestling is putting on The Collective, which is an actual collective of indie promotions that are going to be doing a super show of sorts. Say that 3 times fast.
Super shows.
Yes.
Throughout 3 days.
Yeah, throughout the WrestleMania weekend.
11 shows in 3 days.
Fucking crazy. Oh my god. And I can't wait. It's going to be fucking awesome.
Well, that's not all. Just announced earlier this week, there's going to be another collection of sorts. It is called Fight Fest. It is 20 plus live events, all coming your way, and it includes companies like World Wrestling Network, which includes Evolve and Shine, but Shimmer's involved in that. You're gonna like this one. DDT is coming to New York City. What else we got here? Impact Wrestling is doing their show, and then this little show called G1 Supercard is also going to be included. So if you don't have Honor Club and you're looking forward to watch that, get yourself the Fight Fest. It has a steep price on paper, $120 though, $120, but you get 20 shows.
So, and according to the press release, it's $280 worth of Fight TV pay-per-view.
Yes.
For $120.
$120. You get 4 days worth of shows.
So less than 50% You're paying less than 50% for all that, all in one shot.
And if you have Fight TV and you can't watch it all at once, don't feel like you need to watch it all at one time. Unlimited replays.
Yeah, once you buy it, it's yours.
It's yours.
You get to keep it.
So,
you don't have to worry about it expiring. You don't have to worry about it being deleted. Nothing like that. It is completely on your account for the remainder of the time that you have a Fight TV account, which is fucking awesome. Go back and watch it over and over again, and that's what brings the value to this package or any pay-per-view that you get on Fight TV. So you're not just paying for a one-time viewing or 48-hour window or anything like that. It is yours to keep.
Yours to keep. 100%. 20x20crew.com/podcast/FITE fight. I cannot tell you how excited I am.
Remember too, guys and gals, if you pre-order any pay-per-view, whether it be singular or package deal through Fight TV, they're going to hook you up with extra credit. So if you sign up as a new user through us over at 20x20crew.com/podcast/fight, you're going to get $15 worth of credit, and then you're going to get even more credit if you pre-order any of their pay-per-views, wrestling or otherwise. So I can't stress how much this deal is fucking awesome to me. I hope you guys take advantage of it. Any pay-per-view on Fight TV. But please, always support professional wrestling.
I cannot stress that enough. But until next week, episode 54 is in the books.
In the books.
I've been Matt. He's been Joe. You've been fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. And until next week, we will see you in the ring.